For this project I used the Pan Pastel Titanium White, the Nocturne Versifying Clair, the Olive in the Elements inks, Truffle, and also Russet Orange and Confetti. I also used one of my favourites, the lovely Violet Chalk, along with Turkish Delight Eco Glitter, my white gel pen to add highlights, Quickie glue pen to stick the glitter, and the Sakura Jelly Roll pen. I think it's a gold. I also used Silver Pearl in the mica powders. I'm going to use for this a piece of the multifarious card. I'm going to dab the colours onto my Teflon craft mat, and then just spritz it well with water. You can see when the colours start to get more washy. Don't know if that's even a term, but I'm just going to swipe my card through, picking up the colours. I must treat myself to some of the spray inks, but this suits me fine for this project. Right, just give my mat a bit of a clean up, dab off some of the excess ink, and I'm going to come back in with my heat gun. As you can see, the card's really quite wet, but the multifarious works really well. Now my piece of card here is 5 inches by 3.5, so it's going to be big enough to make 2 ATCs out of. So I'm just going to use a stencil for the entire piece. I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but hey ho, we'll learn from this. Right, I think I'm going to go with the russet for this. These are really juicy ink pads, so you won't need too much on your brush. Just flick the colour on from the edges or from the corners, and blend over the stencil. Oops, that was a bit of a splodge there, but it won't matter in the end. That was a mistake, I should have come in from the edge there, but as I said, I'll be able to disguise that once I've finished the whole project. And if that corner doesn't look right, well, I won't use it. Right, yep, that looks good enough. Just cut my card down into 2 pieces, each measuring 2.5 inches by 3.5. I think I'm going to go for this one and put the other one aside for a future project. Now I've got my moon mask, my circle mask. I'm just going to use my Pan Pastel and a cotton pad to make a moon in that corner. Okay, just rub it over the corner, making sure you go right to the edge of the stencil or to the mask. Now I'm just placing the centre of that, or the negative, over the chalked area, and I'm going to come back in just with the stencil brush that I'd used previously, no extra ink, and just add a little bit more colour. And as you can see, It just makes the moon pop a little bit more. There you go. Now I'm just gonna use my spider's web. Goodness, aren't there a lot of spiders this year? I do like a spider, but I'm not so keen on walking into their webs. But anyway, I'm going to use my Nocturne, dab it over my stamp, make sure you've not missed any little bits. I'm going to just add it to this top corner, just over the edge of my card. There you go. Now I just want to add a little bit of a sparkly sheen to it, so I'm going to come in with my mica mineral powder and a soft brush, pick up just a tiny bit of the powder, a bit too much. I'll dab some of that off and brush it over the inked area. The VersaFine will just grab the powder, gently wipe off the excess, and hopefully you'll be able to see the sparkly sheen it's left. There you go, fit for a spider. Just wipe that excess bit away. Now I'm just going to use the wolf stamp. Make sure it's attached to my block. And then using the VersaFine Clair in the Nocturne, just going to gently tap the ink pad all over the stamp, making sure I've given it a nice coverage. There you go. Oh, a little bit of an over ink there. Gently wipe that away. I'm going to place him in the left hand corner, howling at my moon. Apply gentle pressure. Don't be in a hurry to lift up your block. Good. That's a nice clean image there. I'm happy with that one. I'm just going to tear myself off a strip of the paper and use this to mask the top and add some grounding for my wolf. Now for this I'm going to use the truffle and my stencil brush and just flick the colour over the bottom edge of my card, just gradually building up a little bit of colour. I don't know if you've used these stencil brushes, but they're really nice to use. Now I've just moved my mask a little bit lower and I'm adding a deeper edge to the bottom, just adding a shadow underneath my wolf. Just give that a quick wipe. And I'm going to bring in my stack of paper again because I want to do some stamping. Now this just makes it easier when you're stamping, so you don't miss any parts of the stamp. It just gives it a little cushion and allows you to get a good image. Now I'm just going to use my branch and once again the Nocturne. Give it a quick dab Now I'm just going to use part of this. I'm going to bring it in from the top of the stamp so it covers, or it stamps over the moon and across the web. Apply a bit of pressure. Good. Happy with that. I was wondering about doing a second generation, but I think just part of it looks good. Now I'm going to use this little foliage, like a little trail. Now I've cut myself a little bit of a mask, or ripped myself a mask, because I don't want to use the entire stamp for this. Just going to use my Olive Elements ink, carefully just dabbing or gently dabbing onto the pad because they're juicy. They're going to come over the edge of the stamp if you're not too careful. Now I'm using this mask or this piece of paper to mask just above each of the branches as I'm stamping. It looks a little bit messy the way I'm doing it, but hopefully you get the idea. You don't want the entire stamp, you just want to let it hang from where the branch is. So I'm masking above and stamping part of the stamp below. Hopefully you can see what I mean. Where to stop? Do you find you do this? You keep on and on, not knowing when to leave it alone. But I'm really happy with that. Now let's just use one of the most recent releases, the grass stamp. I'm going to ink it up using my Nocturne. Now when I place this one on my card, I'm not going to place the entire solid area. I'm going to bring some of it below my piece of card. Apply the pressure. Then I'm going to lift it and place it higher so that you've got a distance to it. Hope you can see that. The second and third generation just adds more definition. Definition, distance. I think that makes sense. Now I'm going to use my first stamp. Now be ever so careful. I ruined the last film by stamping it completely upside down. So make sure I've got it the right way this time. And using my truffle elements, inking up my pad, taking off the excess, and using second generation, and then just continue stamping it. Surprising how many stamps you can get from just the one ink. There you are. I really find that using these texts just gives so much interest to your card. Now I'm going to use this art word stamp. It's part of a set of 4 stamps. There's dream, inspire, art and love. And I'm going to ink it up. These have a lovely, almost distressed look to them. I really love using these. Where should I put it? Just there, I think. Apply pressure. That looks a little bit dark. Right, I'm going to show you a little trick here. Something I do just to soften it. Just using the antique linen oxide, cleaning off my stamp, inking it up. Now I'm going to place this over the top of the original stamping. Don't worry too much if it's not perfect, because it won't matter, but it just softens the look. so it's not such a deep black look now. Using the VersaFine and a sponge, I'm just going to apply some ink to the edges of my card, paying more attention to the corners because I want it to look darker, more of a nighttime look to the scene. And it also makes the rest of the image pop a little bit more. Let's move it onto a clean piece. I'm just going to come in with my jelly roll. It's a gold or a bronze. These are so lovely and sparkly. I'm just going to flick up from the bottom, add in extra little strands of grass. If you can see the sparkle there. But it just adds a shimmer like the moon's catching it. Just some extra sparkle to the lettering. Just imagining where the light of the moon would catch the letters. Some to the foliage. Once again, knowing where should I stop. Hope you can see that. I'll just add a few more strands of grass. These jelly roll pens really are so nice to use. So sparkly. Now I'm just going to come in with my gel pen and add some highlights. Oh, this one's not working very well. Just grab another one. I'm just going to add some highlights to my branches. So you can picture as if the moon is catching them. There you are. Might just add a few bits of white highlight to the grass, a few to my image, onto the fox. Just gentle flicks where the light would catch his fur. There. Did I say fox? I meant wolf. Anyway, I'm going to come in with my quickie glue pen and add some little spots onto the foliage. This is just a really controlled way of adding glue so that the glitter ends up exactly where you want it. Just sprinkle it over. Yeah. Good tap. Might just give it a little careful brush. And you can see where I've used the glue pen. It's just held onto the glitter. Right, move that out of the way. Make sure I don't end up with it all over the floor. And that's it. One finished ATC. Happy Halloween.